So last night, before I left work, I got the bright idea to drive my Jeep up the light pole because in all honesty, I haven't even done it in this one yet. Now, for those of you that haven't climbed light poles before, it does put a weird strain on the steering components because you're trying to climb up something that is at a 90-degree angle, which most machines don't like. Needless to say, it put a lot of pressure on the steering wheel, and I was still holding it really tight because I didn't want it to turn all the way. It really felt like something could possibly break. But on the positive side, nothing's broken, but there is something that's pretty messed up. So as you can see, my wheels are perfectly straight right now. Almost 100% straight. However, whenever you get inside, you will see that the steering wheel is a little crooked. Now, obviously that's not horrible, but it's enough to bother you extremely bad whenever you're driving down the street. So before we do anything today, I gotta fix that. Now what we need to do is adjust the drag length. So you'll see this right here. This has actually got a 15mm nut right there. And it's pretty simple to straighten out that steering wheel. I believe for this, what we'll need to do is actually twist this backwards. So twist it that way. If I needed to go the other way, I'd need to twist it that way. But I haven't done it in a little while, so we're gonna find out for sure right now. Now that we've got that loosened up, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn this twice right here. And now I'm gonna go look at the steering wheel. What happened to it? Mommy took your Defender?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. That's pretty straight to me. You'll have to test it out whenever you take it down the street. You'll feel if it's off a little bit, but you can't really tell whenever it's just sitting here. So for now, this will work. And just keep that 15mm wrench in your Jeep. That way, whenever you're driving down the road, you can adjust it if you need to. But for now, that's a lot better. Now we're gonna go ahead and take this thing down the road, make sure it's all straight. Good job. Yeah, that's pretty good. Now, in all honesty, I think that the drag link must have been loose because the steering does feel quite a bit tighter right now, which is kind of strange. So I'm thinking that it was already pretty loose, obviously from the off-road trips we've taken in the past, from the drag strip, whatever the case may be. So it probably just loosened up enough to where whenever we were climbing that lot, that it just really messed it up. Well, after I got done with the Jeep, I brought the Defender all the way down to Chattanooga just to have a little bit of fun today. And I've got to say, this thing is pretty much dialed in. So now with the rear tire spacer, the 2-inch lift rods, 35 1250s, and the intercooler relocation kit, as well as a lot of trimming, it's turned out really well. The lift rods, I'm really impressed with them. The rod quality is still extremely good, so I haven't had any issues with that. Obviously, you can tell the trimming that we've had to do, and it's actually working really, really good so far. One of the main issues I had whenever I first bought it was the A-pillar wind noise. And if you guys watched my video on how I fixed it, you know I used some 3M and it ended up working perfectly. So many of you guys have asked about the road noise in the Defender with the 35s, and this is it. It's honestly not that bad. Of course, you're going to get a little bit of wind noise just because of the boxy design, but we're not getting any wind noise from the A-pillars, which was honestly the absolute most annoying thing about this car for a very long time. I should go ahead and adjust the toe and the alignment. As you can tell, the steering wheel is actually straight, even though we did the 2-inch lift rods, but for the toe it is pulled in just a little bit, so I should get that fixed. But other than that, I couldn't ask for anything more out of this machine. So now that we've made it all back, I've suddenly realized something about the Jeep Wrangler. It's been over a week now, and I still haven't cleaned it since the last trip. Now for the interior, I've already wiped it all down. This isn't going anywhere, but I'm really gonna have to scrub it to get it off these covers. Luckily, they are covers though, so the seats underneath it are just fine. And it seems like no matter what I do or where I go, I've always got mud on my doors. Now, I recently got this product sent out by Torque Detail that is a ceramic spray that is supposed to last up to 12 months to throw on this Jeep and try out. Obviously, we need to clean this thing up first, really good, before we start trying to apply anything like that on it. But it's supposed to be a instant ceramic coat. I'm kind of excited to test it out. Now, while we are talking about the Jeep Wrangler, I've actually got quite a few things in the works for this machine behind us. Obviously, there are a few things we need to do cosmetically just to go ahead and wrap it all up. But I've got a lot of performance things in mind and some things already ordered. Things like the cold air intake, a bigger throttle body, and intake manifold. all of that kind of stuff. That way we can really add whatever we need to and then dial in a specific tune instead of just using the Diablo tune that came with it. It was already preloaded with that PCM swap. I really want to dial that in and see what kind of power we can get out of it with just some really simple stuff. Eventually we're going to lift it. I just want to be able to get all the power stuff out of the way. That way we can really see what this thing's capable of on the drag strip before we lift it up too big and before it won't fit in the garage anymore. Now for the Defender, it's pretty much mechanically all done. We've got the 35s, 30 millimeter spacers, 2-inch lift rods. We've got the intercooler relocation kit. We've got everything we pretty much need. But there are a lot of things that I just want to do for the looks, like the exterior. So wheels, black out pretty much everything on the outside. Maybe it'll make that green look a little bit better. Maybe it won't, but we won't know until we test it out. But really and truly, it's pretty much all done. It's just the little stuff, and that typically does take a little bit longer. As for the Camaro, now I've talked about the Camaro before. It's actually a 4-cylinder turbo. It's what I use as my beater, my daily driver. I want to kind of fix it up. I'm going to need to put new tires on it. Whenever I wrecked it at my last dealership, I decided to just buy it and sweep it under the rug. That way I don't have to worry about anything, and I put it back together. So what happened is I basically ripped out everything under it and it blew out the interior because of the airbags. So I fixed all of that once I got all the parts, and nobody really watched those videos. I guess people just aren't too interested in a 4-cylinder Camaro. I don't know. But I do want to go ahead and fix it up a little bit. I'm going to have to put tires on it anyway, so I might as well get a decent setup. Simple things like a diverter valve, a cold air intake, a catless downpipe, and a tune will really wake this thing up, and it'll be even more fun to drive. I know it sounds weird to say Camaro with the 4-cylinder turbo, but just imagine the Subaru BRZ if it came with a turbocharger from the factory. That's kind of the feel you get in that thing, and of course it's a manual transmission. So if you guys want to see any of the content on the Camaro, let me know in the comments below. That way I'll be sure to record it for you all. Now I know this video is quite a bit different than what I typically do, but sometimes I've just got to feel you guys in. So if you haven't already, please like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you want to see next. But until then, Godspeed.